it's not to get excited about. This is a tough one. I was even thinking about it. This is a tough one for me to even like read and walk us through. But I feel like we have to. I do talk about Uber and Lyft doing teenage rides. This is one of the worst stories I've ever read, ever. Uber driver delivered 12 and 13-year-old to accused sex traffickers home. The parents of two girls are suing Uber, saying the ride-sharing company allowed their 12 and 13-year-old daughters to be trafficked from South Carolina to a man's North Carolina home where one girl was raped. The lawsuit says Uber is aware of the problem with its platform, that it's a popular form of transportation to traffic victims sexually, primarily minor girls across the United States. In 2023, the North Carolina man was accused sex trafficker already, started grooming the 12-year-old over Facebook and later ordered an Uber to have her and her friend delivered to his home. According to a complaint filed July 24th in York County, South Carolina, Favion Williams was convicted of statutory rape of a minor and sexual exploitation of a minor on July 2nd. Sent the Uber to pick up the girls down the street from their mother's house late November. And the Uber driver didn't ask the girls about their ages, even though they were noticeably underage, according to the complainant. Out of fear, the 13-year-old girl, this is on the way to there, told the driver that they, quote unquote, they were younger than their actual ages in an attempt to get him to cancel the ride and refuse to drive them. However, the driver kept driving and took the girls to the North Carolina home. After the girls were dropped off, Williams took them into his backyard and encouraged them to smoke marijuana. The lawsuit says then he walked them inside his home, where they saw an older man inside playing video games. When Williams propositioned the girls to perform sex acts, the 13-year-old girl refused, according to the complainant. He ordered the other girl, who was scared Williams might hurt her, as she knew he likely had a gun, to his room, where he violently raped her and filmed the assault. This is horrific and this is a quote. This is horrific and tragic situation that has upended the lives of these families, all made possible by Uber because of their negligence and their steadfast prioritization of profits over safety. And that's the Clarkson law firm attorney Tracy Cohen, who is representing the case. So Uber is actively participating in and profiting from the trafficking of minors and doesn't care who it hurts along the way. That's the same thing from the lawyer. The girls' parents are suing Uber on multiple claims, including negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress and trafficking. An Uber spokesperson told the news here that the details of the incident are horrific. And this is a quote, "We take our role helping to combat human trafficking seriously and have spent years investing in prevention efforts, including providing every driver with educational resources on how to identify the signs of human trafficking and report suspended cases." The second Uber ride. So now all this has happened. I would think the story ends here. It doesn't. So this guy Williams now orders a second Uber ride to go from North Carolina back to South Carolina. The Uber driver, who responds to Williams' request for a ride, allows the girls to get in the car, 2 in a row, and didn't ask their ages. The driver remained silent for the hour-long drive across state lines. During the ride, the 12-year-old told her friend she had been raped. The Uber driver dropped the girls off at a park near one of the mother's homes that Williams had chosen as the drop-off, despite the fact that there were no parents waiting for them, according to the complaint. The 13-year-old's mother had been searching for the girls and emerged from a parked car at the park as they exited the Uber. The mother rushed over to the driver, asking where they came from. The all Uber driver 2, this one, said was something along the lines of some guy named Fabian paid for the ride. That's all he knew. That's all he cared about. A day later, Williams messaged the 13-year-old on Facebook and shared a video of himself raping her friend. The rape was ultimately reported to authorities in South Carolina and North Carolina, where Williams was arrested. Williams is detained at the Piedmont Correctional Institute in Salisbury, North Carolina, about 45 miles north or northeast of Charlotte. And he has been transferred to prison awaiting this. But here's the last part. With their lawsuit, the girls' parents are hoping for change from Uber. The lawsuit accuses Uber of not implementing safety measures, including enhanced background checks and mandatory dashboard cameras. The company told McClathy News that Uber's global investigations team works hand in hand with law enforcement to help bring suspected traffickers to justice. Uber advises its drivers to cancel rides with unaccompanied minors who don't have a teen account with the platform. The company also offers drivers tips on preventing underage riding online, on how to report a canceled ride due to unaccompanied minors. However, Sarah Beller, a Clarkson law firm associate, said in the statement that Uber has continuously ignored their drivers picking up unaccompanied minors and no action has been taken. The girls' parents are seeking an unspecified amount of damages and are demanding a jury trial.
I have a question because I'm a little confused. How did the girls get from being picked up to this guy's house? Like, did they order an Uber and he took them to the wrong place? Like, how did they get picked up and then dropped off at a different location?
He had been communicating with her on Facebook.
Okay, that's what I was missing.
So he had been like, that's why they said grooming. For a year, he had been kind of just.
Got it.
I don't even want to use the word flirting because it's so messed up and gross, but whatever it is, he was doing whatever he was doing.
He was grooming.
Grooming, I guess that's the term. So he was grooming. That's the term they used anyway. But he was grooming these girls to come up there. And so he sent the car and they went and met him at the park. And
yeah, he ordered the Uber from where he was to pick them up on his account.
Oh, so the mother didn't even know.
Like,
I was trying to figure out the whole.
They used Uber Teen. They just used regular Uber
but,
X.
But hold on. This is proof of get rid of that crap. Tony, you and I have been driving long enough to know that this shouldn't have even been introduced. I don't care if driver's licenses are down for 16-year-olds getting their license. We also went through a major pandemic 4 years ago, so things are just off. And they're still coming back. I mean, they're coming back a lot quicker, but we're still rebuilding some pieces. So I would guess 16-year-olds getting their license might go back up over the years. Who knows? My point is that is no reason. I know Uber operates like this, but that is no reason to go against the only moral compass thing you've had since the beginning. No unaccompanied minors. Unless you create an Uber Teen account, which goes under your account, and then we can totally illegally take them. Knowing that all this sexual trafficking is going on.
Yeah, and how's Facebook off the hook on this too?
I'm so blown away by this. Like, to me, like, can you imagine? First of all, can you imagine being the lawyer who works for Uber, who they sent to defend this case?
Yeah.
I mean, I said her name, but I'm not kidding. Maybe some of you would say, well, if you were in her shoes, a different story. Nope. I would actually quit. This would make me quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's
not a chance I would represent this case.
A lawyer that works for Uber.
But if I was, and I had never been a driver and I didn't know, okay, they want to hire me, great. But they assigned me to this case, I'm gone. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to defend your company here.
I'm just saying it's the kind of person that accepts that role.
I mean, Brandon, I see you looking disgusted down there. What are your thoughts here?
I'm old school. Hook the guy up to the bumper and drag him.
Yeah. Yeah. Or hook him up between two and let's split him in half.
Dragging. Much more.
Yeah. I guess I'm just saying, like,
I'm not a good person to ask.
No, you are, because
I'm old school.
And so am I. And here's the thing, like this isn't like, oh, Uber created a problem like this. No, there's always been a problem of abusing minors, and now there's social media. There's people called out who didn't do it, and there's some mix-ups, but it is happening more, and there is lots of people being transferred around. And I mean, if it's on their radar that they're being used for sex trafficking, why the hell do they have Uber Teen?
They shouldn't have that at all, but they should be totally 100% responsible.
Well, I mean, responsible to what? Cough up the money that they're going to owe this?
Well, you can't fix that little girl's life.
No
money is going to do that.
No.
But I would try to settle. But the driver is probably as much responsible as Uber themselves, but because he did pick them up.
2 different drivers and no drivers denied.
Yeah.
I mean, you send a Tony or I out, we're not picking, or a Tom, we're not picking those people up.
No.
Yeah, the only way I would have picked up those girls if I were the second driver is that they told me what happened, and I would have taken them to the hospital or the place, and not on Uber, just as a parent.
Right. Brian, thank you for saying that, because it is Tom's birthday, or Jerry's birthday, and Jerry is back with us here today. So happy birthday, Mr. Garcia. I know you've been dead a while. No pun intended.
Yeah, about 20 years.
Looks pretty good to be a dead person.
So, yeah, I hear you, Marion. It is. I mean, it's not only heartbreaking. I said we've done 130 of these, and I said, I mean, that's a bold comment, because we've talked about some. This isn't always gnarly stuff, but we've talked about some gnarly cases. This is the nastiest one I think I've heard. And I guess it's partially because there's 2 Uber drivers involved.
Yeah.
I mean, the one girl saying that she got raped in the back. How's he not hear that? You know, and then on the way up, the other one gives the other driver a tip, like that something's wrong. What's going on? You know,
people don't pay any attention to anybody anymore. They just out of sight, out of mind, give me my money and move on.
Yeah, but a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old girl. Look, I might ignore the 2 drunk guys in the back too. Have done it many times, tuned them out because they just annoyed me so bad. But a 12 and a 13-year-old girl wouldn't pick them up, would have made an issue about it too. I wouldn't have just left. I wouldn't have just canceled and drove away. I would have like I always did. Tony knows this. Tom knows this. You know, I would have called Uber. I would have said, what the heck's going on here? You know, like even though I know that now they don't have the unaccompanied because they have the teen accounts, but that is not a solution to the problem.
No.
And that would have gave them less of an out too, because if you or I denied them and then we called them and then somebody else, like always, comes and picks up the people that we just said they were too young, and they said we will investigate this and blah blah blah, when they never do, then they would have been on the hook even more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see that Dog Chapman here is saying like there are so many various levels of this issue and this story, you know, from Facebook to Uber, and also wondering where the parents were. I think that I mean, a lot of this is left out, obviously, and their attorney isn't speaking on behalf of this, but my guess is this park, because the mom went back to there. So I'm getting that the parents cared a lot, in fact, and that this was a big deal because she was at the park waiting for him. So my guess is like, they said, we're going to the park. They went to the park, but through Facebook, this had already been arranged. So she's like, she probably drove down to the park and says, where are they? Starts going nuts, calling the friend. I mean, like, I got to say, I've let, you know, when Max was that age, I let him go hang out with his friends and stuff. So,
yeah, I guarantee that the kids both told their parents they were doing something different.
Oh, sure.
You know how these groomers, they will tell these kids the exact storylines that they need to tell their parents, and if they change it, that will kill them or hurt them or something drastic that they couldn't ever achieve, but it scares the little kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it scared every adult on this panel. and every person in this live stream. I mean, I see Eric Berry's like, horrible story, but why did the parents not show or not know where the kids are? Again, I'm sure there's more of a story to this. I'm sure part of it is that going up against Uber, you don't want your attorney to say your whole story. I know that sounds weird, but again, remember, you're dealing with like one of the shadiest corporations there is. Of course, your attorney's saying, listen, we're not going to tell our side of the story. Because they're requesting a jury trial.
Yeah, I hope they don't let them get out of court settlement.
No, I'm thinking that's part of what it is. These parents don't, maybe it's not about the money. And that's what we need is a case like that, where they're like, no, we're going to take the jury trial.
Right. Well, and they have a lot of responsibility to help these two girls to have whatever mental health help that they need.
Well, I don't know. I don't think when you say what they need, I'm with Brandon. I don't think you can. I'm not saying she's broken, but you're not going to be able to help this girl.
Yeah, that's why I say it's got to be whatever she needs. They have to supply it. Like it has to be whatever ongoing help throughout whatever amount of time her life is, even beyond being a minor.
Right, which means it's going to be like calculated because you can't trust like a time payment with Uber. It's got to be a judgment. So they're going to come up with 40, 50 million, whatever. And you know what? I hate to say I'm biased, but if I'm sitting on this jury, you're damn well sure I don't care what dollar amount you put on it. I'm going to be thinking go higher. Because I'm going to side with you and I'm going to throw Uber under the bus.